The IPOB leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu sues Reno Omokri for 60 billion naira over anti-Igbo comment. To me, this is actually explosive details and analysis of the anti-Igbo defamation claims have resulted to this very litigation. In a country long burdened by ethnic tensions and political distrust, the cost of words, especially words spoken by public figures, has just been quantified for 60 billion naira. That is the staggering amount being demanded by Nnamdi Kanu, the detained leader of indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, in a lawsuit filed against former presidential aide, Reno Omokri. At the heart of this explosive legal battle is an allegation of hate speech, ethnic defamation, and what Kanu's lawyer described as deliberate attempt to tarnish the dignity and the integrity of the Igbo people. But what exactly did Reno Omokri say? Why is this lawsuit coming from someone who remains behind bars? A heavyweight like Nnamdi Kanu. And why has this particular case triggered a wave of national attention, not just from legal experts, but from socio-political observers and ethnic organizations across the country? Of course, welcome back again to this channel. This is About Perspective. Today, we bring you an exclusive in-depth breakdown of the 60 billion defamation case, the social and the legal implications, and what this means for Nigerian fragile national unity. To start with, who is Nnamdi Kanu? To many, Kanu is not a stranger. He is the founder of IPOB and the voice behind Radio Biafra, through which he championed the secession of Nigerian Southeast region, referencing the historical and cultural trauma of the Biafra War. Since his abduction from Kenya in 2021, Kanu has remained in the custody of the Department of State Service, that is the DSS, facing trial for alleged treasonable felony and incitement. Despite Kanu's detention, his influence, especially among millions of Igbos across Nigeria and diaspora, has remained very strong. No one would take that away from him. Reno Omokri, on the other hand, is former aide to President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, an author, activist, and a daily commentator on social media, where he runs his famous Reno Nudges series. While Reno has presented himself as a moral voice of African progress and good governance, critics argue that he frequently toes the line between political commentary and tribal provocation, particularly in his views on IPO. Then, what is this particular statement that led to the 60 billion lawsuit? The tension between Kanu and Reno escalated after a series of social media posts and public interviews by Reno Omokri, in which he allegedly made the following claims. First, that Igbos are too obsessed with money to lead Nigeria successfully. Secondly, that during the 2023 general elections, the Igbo people demonstrated blind tribal loyalty to P2B. Third, he also talked about IPOB, a group founded by Nnamdi Kanu, being a terrorist with ethnic supremacy tendencies. Fourth, that the Southeast wants power without national consensus. And of course, many other anti-Igbo comments. So this comment, according to Barrister Lloyd Jumako, who represents Nnamdi Kanu, crossed the line from political commentary into targeted ethnic defamation. Detail of the lawsuit. In an official complaint filed before the Federal High Court, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is suing Reno Omokri for 60 billion naira, a historic figure that marks one of the largest defamation claims in Nigerian legal history. The relief sought include, first, 50 billion in general damage for reputational injury, emotional harm, and ethnic defamation. Then, secondly, 10 billion in exemplary and aggravated damage for what the legal team described as Reno's continued, deliberate, and unrepentant actions against Igbo people. Thirdly, a formal apology to be published on all major national newspapers and digital outlets. Then fourth, a public declaration affirming the distinct identity of Igbo people separate from IPOB's ideology. Then fifth, a perpetual injunction restraining Reno from making further defamatory remarks about Kanu or Igbo ethnic group. And according to Aloy Jumako, the lawsuit is not only about defending Kanu's personal image, but also about defending the collective dignity of the Igbo nation. And many will throw this to Reno Omokri's quest. Is it free speech or ethnic hate? Actually, what does it represent? If you want to be sincere with yourself, how can you describe Reno's daily activities about a particular tribe in Nigeria? That gets to one of the most important questions in this very case, and that is if Reno Omokri's comments fall under the protection of free speech or whether they constitute hate speech under Nigerian law and international human rights frameworks. Here are the two opposing views. Supporters of the lawsuit will argue that Reno's statements were reckless, sweeping generalization that amount to incitement. The framing of IPOB as a synonymous with the entire Igbo ethnic group is ethnically provocative and inflammatory, and also as a public figure with millions of followers, Reno has a higher responsibility to avoid ethnic profiling. Then critics of the lawsuit would say that Reno was just exercising his constitutional right to express political opinions. Maybe also that the IPOB legitimate topic for critique due to its controversial method. But this is more than a matter of law. This is a matter of national cohesion. It is a matter of national interest. Ethnic profiling has been a long-standing issue in Nigeria, from post-Biafra war prejudice to present-day marginalization. The Igbo people have often felt unfairly treated in national discourse. Many believe that comments like that of Reno only reinforce dangerous narrative. This lawsuit, therefore, is not just a legal complaint. It is a social and political declaration of hate. It aims to challenge the normalization of ethnic stereotype. It seeks to draw the legal boundaries of acceptable speech. It also reflects the Igbo community's increasing resistance on respect and equal treatment in national dialogue. Whether or not Kanu wins the case, it has forced Nigeria to confront a much deeper issue. I mean, how do we speak about one another in public? And when does opinion become injury? Mazi Nnamdi Kanu remains in solitary confinement, battling legal battles on multiple fronts. Yet through this lawsuit, he has sent a clear message, not just to Reno Omokri, but to all public commentators in Nigeria. Our ethnic identities are not your content, so stay off. For Reno Omokri, this lawsuit could become a defining moment in his public life. While he stands firm on freedom of expression, or will the courts hold him accountable for the societal consequences of his words? Whatever the outcome, this case is a powerful reminder that in Nigeria, words are not cheap, and sometimes they cost 6 billion naira. So, as the legal battle takes form in the courts, it opens the door to a larger national conversation. I mean, how can Nigeria balance free speech with respect for ethnic identities? At what point does political analysis become hate speech? And who gets to decide what is truth and what is defamation? But you cannot insult an entire race of over 40 million people and hide behind free speech. That is not possible. Reno crossed the line from political commentary, and that is very dangerous. It is a tribal profiling. I mean, coming from his page, from his posts, his kind of utterances, it is quite obvious that he has actually, gone beyond what he sees as political opinion. This is very targeted at a particular group of people in Nigeria, and it should be condemned. Reno Omokri's reaction. Reno Omokri has not remained silent. In fact, he has doubled down what he has been doing. He released a video on Instagram and he stated, "I have nothing against the Igbos. I speak against IPOB's terrorism. Nnamdi Kanu is not Igbo culture. He is a separatist who has divided this country. If you call that defamation, see you in court." Yet, many noted that Reno's refusal to separate IPOB from the larger Igbo identity was part of the problem, and perhaps why this lawsuit is gaining so much attention. Of course, Nnamdi Kanu, a high-profile personnel, is involved. So, what does this mean for Nigeria? This case is not just about two men, it's about a nation. Nigeria has over 250 ethnic groups, and tension between major tribes like the Igbos, Yoruba, and Hausas has shaped its political landscape for decades. The misuse of social media platforms by influential voices to spread harmful narrative can undo years of national peace building. Whether or not Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's win the case, the lawsuit send a clear message. The days of casually disrespecting ethnic identities may be over. So, Reno Omokri argues that the Igbo people should not conflate their ethnic identity with the IPOB's actions and ideology, and that his comments were political critique, not ethnic attack. But here lies the core dilemma. Is it possible to criticize a group like IPOB without painting the wider Igbo population with the same brush? And if public figures continue to blur those lines, are they indirectly fueling ethnic resentment? This is the last thing I would say. The tractions that is being given to Reno right now, it shouldn't be, because it's kind of very funny. I mean, who is Reno Omokri? On my final words, in the days ahead, we will watch not just a legal process, but a national reckoning. The outcome of this case may not only shape Reno Omokri's career or Nnamdi Kanu's legacy, but may also redefine how Nigeria addresses ethnic sensitivities in its public dialogue. A country still struggling to forge unity in diversity. This is not just courtroom drama. This is a mirror to the soul of the nation. That comes to the end of this very analysis. Of course, very importantly, leave a comment. What do you think about this very lawsuits? What would it fetch for Nnamdi Kanu? What would it fetch for Reno Omokri? What would it fetch for Nigeria? What would it fetch for Igbo? Thank you for watching. If you found this video report insightful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for deeper political coverage, and share this with someone who needs to understand what is truly at stake. We will continue to monitor this case and bring you updates as they unfold. Stay informed, stay critical, and most importantly, stay united.